right. We have a treat tonight. We have Frank Harris with us. Frank, if you don't know, and it took me a while to know him, but Frank is like a legend in some circles. And, I had known him for a couple of years, and I didn't really appreciate that until we were at Nothing Fancy Farm. It was 2016. And Massey happened to be there that year. And I think Massey was probably the only person there who got a warmer welcome than Frank. And quite frankly, I think there were a few people who gave a more enthusiastic welcome even to Frank. So, but I first met Frank at UK, and I mentioned this last Thursday with David Patterson. We were collecting signatures to get David Patterson on the ballot. We had to have 5,000 signatures. David and I had never got signatures there. I got signatures before, and we'd been there like 5 minutes. We met Frank there. We'd been there like 5 minutes, and we ran into some sort of trouble. And they didn't want
free speech Nazis. Yeah, the free speech Nazis didn't want us speaking unless we were in a certain zone.
Right. Yeah. Right. So you went away. I mean, for a long time, me and David were just like looking at each other. You went away for like 20, 30 minutes. What were you doing? How did you navigate that?
I had to track down the head freedom, or the head free speech Nazi. And so I went into the student center, and I didn't know where to go or who to find. So I knew I had to find the director of something. And so I went to the office where the director was supposed to be to get permission to move 90 feet so that we weren't getting rained on, because the free speech area was completely outdoors, and where we wanted to move to was under the cover of the second floor of the student center. The first floor was a big open area where other people were gathered, but they had permission to be there.
Right.
They were making speeches. I forget what they were making speeches that day. They were doing something different from what we were doing. So they already had permission. So we had to go get permission to be underneath the building to where we weren't getting wet. So I had to go track the right person down, and the right person wasn't there. So I talked to the person that was there, and she was very adamantly, "Oh no, you cannot speak in that area. That's not the free speech area." Okay, well, who do I need to speak to? Where's the person I need to speak to? Well, they're going to come in eventually. So I had to wait 10 or 15 minutes, and then they eventually got there. And I tried to be very, very polite and just, "Hello, my name's Frank Harris." At the time, I think I was the secretary of the Libertarian Party. And so I just explained that we were there to try to get signatures that day, which is a constitutionally protected right. And that we just wanted to be able to move 90 feet underneath, the area where it was not raining. And he was very accommodating.
Yeah.
I tried very hard not to look at the young lady who was not accommodating, but it was all I could do not to look at her and, kind of, give her one of those looks. But he was very, very nice about it. But the thing is that, the United States has guaranteed free speech everywhere, but you find all the time that the places where you're least free tend to be areas where it's controlled by government. And since the University of Kentucky at that time had the free speech zone, which had been in existence, I believe, since back when I was in college, that would be the early 1980s. I started at UK in 1981. And so you had one designated free speech area, and that was common and is still common at a lot of universities. But apparently they passed a law, I think in 2018, which rescinded the free speech zone. So now, lo and behold, we can talk freely anywhere on UK campus, just like America or something.
Wow, I was afraid you were going to tell me we could speak nowhere on campus.
Well, there are so many areas now where you can't protest except in certain areas. You can't have a sign in certain areas. It's ridiculous. We are no longer a free country.
Yeah, I do remember what that other group was doing, though, Frank. They were reciting poetry. because I recited a poem for them.
Yeah, and so I got up and I recited a poem, which was basically Bob Dylan's "Masters of War" song, which is a very anti-war song, and it was funny because right before I read it, I mean, I get emotional when I think about it. It talks eloquently about the people that are profiting from war, and you masters of war, you maker of bombs, you build the jet planes, and I can't remember all the lyrics. So I asked people there, I said, some of you all are too young to remember this, but have you ever heard of Kent State? Have you ever heard of the Vietnam War? And it was funny to me, they barely knew about the Vietnam War.
Wow.
Like the Vietnam War was some piece of trivia that was so obscure, And so I told them a little bit about the Kent State shootings and that kind of thing. And actually on UK campus, the National Guard Armory, which back then was at the top of the hill right above the Student Center,
yep,
was a site of some violence in the early 1970s. About the time of Kent State, there were some UK protests, people protesting the war, people that didn't want to be drafted to go to Vietnam. And I believe that they received, a rude welcome from the National Guard as well. I don't think there was any shootings, but I do believe that some people were harassed or even roughed up over that.
I did not know that.
I was within 200 feet of where I was standing that day.
Right. That kind of plays into where we are with COVID-19, actually, because our entry into Vietnam and how we were essentially tricked into being in Vietnam for nearly a decade, and then we were kind of lied to about
over a decade when you count the time from the what do they call them, our advisors that were over there. I think
right.
That went back to maybe 1960, 61, or maybe even 59. And then
right.
we didn't leave until, 72, 73?
Right. But around 68 or 69, it sort of pivoted to what was it? Leaving with dignity, or I can't remember.
We didn't leave all the way until at least 72, 71,
right.
72.
Right. Well, that's because we couldn't just leave. We needed to leave with dignity.
Right.
I mean, we had already lost this number of men, and if we didn't leave with dignity by losing this extra number of men, then it all would have been for nothing.
It's like when you walk into a room and you fall down and you have to get up gracefully and pretend you meant to do that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. That's worth some more men's lives. But the reason I bring that up is, I'm real big on, I feel like we could have done a lot better with COVID-19 had our government been more honest with us, but also if we actually felt like we had a government we can trust. I mean, pretty much Pence would come on and say there's plenty of testing. And I mean, as libertarians, we go, oh shit, there's no testing. I mean, we just immediately knew. And then you hear there's plenty of ventilators, and we're like, uh-oh.
And we've got a vaccine coming. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure you do. Sure you do. But we could have done a lot better. And it's sad because even if starting at the beginning of this year, even if at the beginning of COVID-19, even if they had been completely straight shooters, we wouldn't have trusted them. But because trust doesn't work that way. You don't start trusting somebody the moment they become trustworthy. It takes time.
You don't trust them. I don't trust them. And a whole lot of people don't trust them. But unfortunately, it seems like there's a whole lot of people that still do.
Right.
I would say that more than half of Americans and more than half of Kentuckians believe that this shutdown was necessary, and I don't get that at all.
Well, and you were misquoted badly by some mainstream media. I think they basically colored
the Lexington Herald Leader, to be specific. Yes.
Yeah, they basically made you out to be a virus denier.
They said that I had implied or said that the government created the virus. I never ever hinted that said that in any way, shape, or form. I said that the government was taking advantage of a crisis, which they've been known to do a time or two. That's where I went with it. And so I wrote a rebuttal. I put it on my Facebook page. I figure so few people read the Herald Leader anymore, it doesn't even matter. and so in my rebuttal, I said, this is how the Herald Leader has achieved the status it has today. Bankruptcy, because it's almost bankrupt.
Probably more people read your Facebook page. But
no, unfortunately not yet. Maybe
we're working on it. We're working on it.
Yeah.
Go read Frank's page. There's some good stuff there.
I'm always trying to have good stuff on my page, and unfortunately, most of it lately is COVID stuff. But I try to have entertaining stuff from all walks of life. Whatever floats my boat, I figure somebody else might like it too.
Right, but you absolutely believe the virus is real.
Oh yeah. Early on, the numbers weren't really clear. We didn't really know. And I said something to the effect that, well, it's probably about like the flu. But truly, at that point, I was speaking out of ignorance. I didn't know that. And then somebody pointed out, oh, no, the fatality rate's like 1.4% and the flu's like 0.02% or something like that. Like, oh, yeah, you're right. Maybe it is more serious than I thought. But as it's played out, it's actually turned into it's not even as deadly as last year's flu. But the thing is there are people that truly believe that there's been 70,000 deaths from this thing. I don't believe that number because we hear all the time how the numbers are conflated. How if a person has cancer and then they get the coronavirus, their cause of death is officially listed as the coronavirus, not the fact that they've had cancer for 6 months.
Well, that's always
not the fact that they're 93 years old. God, that couldn't have anything to do with it, could it?
Well, first of all, that's always a tricky subject because like at a friend died of cancer. Specifically, he went into cardiac arrest. He had colon cancer. Did you know colon cancer caused cardiac arrest? What he died of?
I'm assuming any form of stress can cause cardiac arrest. It's putting a strain on your system,
But he had suffered badly from neuropathy, nerve death. And he had a lot of problems with his hands and the bottoms of his feet. And I got to reading on it, and I don't know that this is what did it, but neuropathy also damages, the heart. So there's a question of did he die of the treatment or did he die of the disease? And a lot of people say, well, either way, he died of the disease. But I'm like, whoa. It actually matters. It matters to know which
noise more often. That's a good noise.
Which noise?
Whoa.
Oh, you like that? Yeah, but it matters sorting out which one it is. And the same's true here. And my accountant, well, he's my accountant and treasurer for the campaign, but the campaign treasurer last night was going through the numbers with me on the extra money that hospitals get for COVID patients.
Yeah, and I think there's incentives too for putting people on ventilators.
Yes, there is. I think he said last night that's 39,000. It's 39,000. Yeah, I think it's 13. I might be getting the numbers wrong. Don't quote me, folks.
Back to my earlier point, that what I'm finding all the time is the people on the left that want to have this shutdown, they believe in a different set of numbers than what you and I believe, because they're not getting the same information that you and I are getting.
Right. And I mean, it is confusing, but what I get upset with isn't people who look at numbers differently than me. What I get upset with is pity people who are ideological, people who won't listen to a different perspective. It's like maybe my perspective's wrong.
Information.
Right.
Yeah,
And this is not the time for this. This
yeah.
is not the time to get angry, dig in, and pretend everyone else on the planet's an idiot. It's time, it's time to listen to different perspectives, and the people who think I'm an idiot, I try to articulate, why I think this other perspective's worth looking at. And then very often I go look at what they had and like, I'm not an idiot, am I? I could be. It
And see
happens.
what this has taught me as much as anything, and I've seen this over the years. I should have learned this lesson a long time ago, but it's finally sunk in after I'm 58 years old. You can occasionally teach an old dog new tricks, but it takes a lot of years. And so what I've learned is as a candidate for office, is my job is not to convert anybody. My
Okay.
job is to broadcast what I believe I know and find the people that also believe what I believe. So my job is to find people that
Right.
already know what I know. Maybe people that don't know as much, maybe people that know more, but just to let them know that I exist so that they know they have a voice. I'm not going to convert very many people. And it's,
No.
same's true with religion. Most people are not converted to whatever religion they're in. They're born into whatever religion they're in. New ideas take time. Even even when the person's right. I've found this even with myself. Somebody hits me with a new idea. My first reaction is, I don't know what they're talking about. So sometimes I'm sharp enough to understand what they're talking about and absorb it. And oh yeah, that makes sense. Other times it'll be a day or two later when I realize, they were right. But it takes time. And so
Sure.
you're not gonna flip people from one side to the other very often. And all you can do is plant the seeds, and people that I have had a lot of respect for over the years did it in a very gentle way, which I have tried to learn. It's not my core nature to do it this
Right.
way. I'm
We'll,
usually
we'll gently go to the toolbox and get a bigger hammer.
right. I have learned a little bit about being more diplomatic, but trust me, I lose my stuff all the time. And what I've had to do because of my campaign this time is weed out a lot of people on Facebook because they're just occupying too much of my time. Generally, they're opponents. Generally, they're people that are wasting my time because, one, they're not ever going to change their opinion. They're not going to change my opinion either,
Sure.
unless they hit me with some new facts, and they're not doing that. So I've had to unfriend a whole lot of people because I just don't have time to waste. I've got to be selective about where I spend my time and energy.
Where I lose time to them sometimes, I probably shouldn't even admit to this, but it's the angry non sequiturs.
Hmm.
It's like I did the safe hands now thing where I was trying to get more hand sanitizer. Essentially, I wanted the FDA to change the rule. I was trying to get people on board with me for, hey, let's sign this petition.
Sanitizer, I just don't.
Okay, that's a different topic though.
But I'm going to scratch my nose right now. Watch out. See? somewhere there's a person in a nursing home that just keeled over. I did that with my superpower
of touching your face.
Oh yeah, that'll get me in trouble. Remarks like that is why I get 2,000 votes.
And that's why we're all going to hell. But
yeah, pretty much. I figure I've got 20 more years left. It doesn't really matter what I do. 20 years, I'm gone.
But so never mind what you think about hand sanitizer. I got
it is of the devil. No, I'm just kidding.
I got comments about evil libertarians just out for themselves. They, you got yours, blank everyone else kind of out.
I don't have mine. I want more.
Yeah. Well, I was like, actually, I do have mine in this case. It's just I'm trying to get some for everyone else.
I don't have my hand sanitizer, but
Yeah.
you know, I always want more chocolate.
That's right.
I can never have enough chocolate, but I'm going to get some soon.
Yeah. Frank conned me into this bet. He snookered me in. What was it? Frank said that
Andy Bashir is going to implement price controls on something.
right. Now I did not agree to it was meat, specifically meat. It was meat prices. And I never agreed to the chocolate. I'll throw it in for you though. But
All right.
But
And
what
whatever your equivalent is, I'm
Yeah.
going to give you whatever if he doesn't do it.
Yeah, but what I said was, I bet you he's not that dumb. Not that dumb.
He is, trust me.
Right.
And my contention is that he's not even that dumb. He's that calculating. It's pandering to his base, and his base don't understand how price controls affect the market.
But the bet I offered and you accepted was that if he did put price controls on the cost of meat, then I had to, and we can do it on another of these shows, I had to admit that I was wrong. Andy Bashir is that dumb. And if I win, you have to admit that he's not quite that dumb.
It's very hard to tell the difference between incompetency and corruption. It is. I mean, you can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
It plays out exactly the same.
But it's there on your Facebook page, Frank. Did I misrepresent?
I deleted that. Don't worry. I don't know if I've deleted it or not. You were a man of honor. I trust you, and I prefer Sharp's chocolate in Lexington. I'll go buy it myself. You can send me the money.
Okay.
A pound of Sharp's chocolate will set you back about $12.
Okay. So I'm
equally happy with plain Hershey bars.
Yeah. Speaking of things that will bring Andy Bashir joy, you're doing a rally this weekend, right?
If his sniper shot me in the back of the head while I'm giving a speech, that'd probably bring him some joy, wouldn't it? Maybe I've got a big head. It's a big target.
Maybe like as an insurance policy, Frank, you pick up the chocolate before the rally.
Well, it may be a month or two before there's serious shortages, but what I'm seeing now is go in the grocery stores and they're rationing a lot of things now.
Right.
Limits. When at first it was kind of like 2 of each kind of thing. Like you could get 2 pork chops, two things of ham, but now it's 2 pork products. So you can't get ham and bacon. You can only get one or the other.
Right.
And it's getting, this is early, so it's going to get worse.
You're trying to feed 3 children. That's egregious. I mean, no American family needs more than 2 children.
I know. One of them's got to go. It's what was that movie? Was it The Life of Brian or one of those movies about it was the meaning of life? Medical experiments for the lot of you.
Yep. We're not even going to dive into that song right now. Right? Yes. So the rally, what's the rally?
Oh, well, we're going to talk a little bit about the unconstitutional nature of the shutdown, the likely economic consequences, what we've already seen, and also, just the fundamental loss of liberties that we're experiencing, and where we believe that this is leading us toward greater restrictions, the social tracing apps and things like that. I also think it's going to lead to inflation because of all the money printing. And, a lot of people really don't understand that. It's something that they've never talked about, aren't aware of. Of course, our educational system isn't going to tell us anything about that. But we need to talk a little bit about the history of the Federal Reserve and fiat currency, and how once upon a time in America, you actually carried around gold and silver, and it was actual money, and how the Constitution authorizes the government to coin money. That means to create coins out of gold and silver, copper, whatever, nickel. It does not authorize the government to print paper money in lieu of those metals. And that right was turned over, in 1933. And then in 1964, they took the silver out of money almost entirely. Between 1965 and 68, you still had 40% silver in the half dollars, the Kennedy halves. We're not going to talk about why Kennedy got shot. No, we're not. So, but it might have had something to do with silver. Who knows? And so I'm going to talk about that. Some people already know these things, thank goodness. It warms my heart when I run into day-to-day people when I'm in the grocery store and they already know these things. It means it makes my job a lot easier. And then we're going to talk about what we can do, what we need to do to, one, try to survive this economic crisis, because short-term things could get real scary.
Right.
If they're going to keep printing stimulus money or relief money, whatever they want to call it, relief money, at some point there's going to be inflation from this. And that means prices on everything are going to start going up. Your money's going to buy less and less. And so what I'm recommending to people right now, I've been talking about this on my Facebook page, is gardening so that you've got your own supply of food. Now, I'm the world's worst gardener. I have nothing in the ground yet. I've got the materials for a greenhouse, and I've been so busy with personal stuff and all the rain we've had, I haven't had a chance to put it together.
Yeah.
But I'm going to hopefully this year build a greenhouse to where I'll be able to grow my own food year round. It's nothing fancy, just PVC pipe and plastic. And I've seen videos of people as far north as Wisconsin that do this, where the winter's up there. I guess it gets about minus 20 or so in Wisconsin. And, Kentucky, we're lucky if we're really unlucky if we see anything below 10 degrees. So their winters are 30 degrees colder than ours. And the ones I've seen, they've been able to grow stuff year round in Wisconsin. So surely to goodness we can do it here in Kentucky.
Well, the place I picked up some jalapeno peppers today, planted about 15 to 20 jalapeno pepper plants. Their greenhouse with PVC pipe and plastic. And,
cool.
I got about half my plants from them this year. But
I'm going to try my hand at vertical gardening, at hydroponic gardening.
Excellent.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No. But today I did I think 50 sweet potato plants.
Whoa! You're going to have to tell me how to do that, because I don't really know how to do potatoes.
Yeah.
I know you cut them up. You have to have the ice, the seed or whatever. There's like about 5 or so in each potato. And
yeah, I can help you with that. I planted 50 pounds of regular potatoes.
Whoa.
I should get about 20 bushels of potatoes.
And how much is a bushel? That's like a big basket, 2 basketballs, 1 basketball.
It's
2 basketballs.
Maybe 3. It's really? Bushels good size.
You're doing all those potatoes.
I call it my just in case garden.
Yeah. Well, potatoes keep a long time. That's a good thing to plant.
That's why I planted
put them in
them.
straw, I think, and they'll keep for 6 months.
Right.
Apples or potatoes, you pack them in straw and they'll keep.
Right. And just to be clear, because some non-libertarians are going to end up seeing this, and they're going to think the libertarians are just, huh?
Do such people exist? Non-libertarians?
I don't know. I'm always in our party, but hypothetically, let's say some watch this, they're going to be like, these nutcases think the economy is going to collapse and we're all going to start. It's not that I think it's going to. This is why I call it my just in case garden, or my paranoia garden.
Yeah.
Let's say there's a 99.9% chance I'm wrong. Okay, I'm fine with that.
You're going to get some exercise. You're going to be outside.
Yeah, it's a good skill.
You're going to live a healthier lifestyle for it.
Yeah, and then there's that other 0.1%.
About the same percentage of dying from COVID.
Yeah. Well, my math based on some of the we won't redo the math, but my math based on some of the antibody testing in New York and their current death rate or their current mortalities per million, I'm coming up with 0.5% actually. But
well, New York is an interesting contrast when you look at the deaths in New York versus everywhere else. And I have to believe that it's because of several fundamental differences in the way they live. One, they're on the subways a lot.
Right.
They're on buses a lot, very, packed buses where people are touching handrails and touching surfaces of things all the time and sitting in the same seats that other people have been in. In Lexington, we don't have a subway. In Lexington, we barely have a bus system and nobody uses it. And then two, you also have people that are living in big buildings. I mean, in New York, I'd say that the vast majority of the population is either working in a big building or living in a big building where you're sharing the same air. Whereas
the elevator buttons
in the small towns in Kentucky, they don't even have big buildings,
Right.
Lexington barely got big buildings, and there's not that many people that work in those.
But if you want to challenge our reasoning, here's a really quick, easy way to kind of see our perspective. Just go Google looking around for countries that have been destroyed, let's say the last 300 years from pandemics, and then do the same thing for monetary collapse.
Well, I saw a video the other day that was talking about how many fiat currencies have gone belly up. And
all of them, it's just timing.
Pretty much any fiat currency generally lasts between 30 to 50 years. So we went off the gold standard in 1971. That means it's been 49 years for the US dollar. And if you look at the debt, the debt charts, like the one you just showed me before this broadcast, man, does anybody think that our debt is sustainable? Or that the money printing is sustainable? Staying at home and not working and getting a check for it, is that sustainable?
Right.
No.
I've been saying it too much, but I always love quoting him, the famous Austrian economist, Elon Musk. If you don't make stuff, there won't be stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's ultimately what the economy really is you have to produce. And
exactly.
You can print all the money you like, but if there's nobody producing anything, what are you going to spend it on? Then you've got paper and nothing to spend it on.
Right.
So the famous axiom is that inflation, the definition of inflation is an increase in the money supply, more money chasing the same number of goods, or even in this case, fewer goods. So you're printing more money and producing less. That means that there's going to be a whole lot of money chasing less goods, which is drive the price of everything up.
See, now you've got me tempted to show them the M2 money supply.
No, that's beyond most people. I don't even understand it myself, and I've been watching this stuff and living it and breathing it for 13 years, and I don't really go that deep.
Let's put it this way. I can put it this way. When you think of what most people think of as money, like if you look at the money in my checking account and Frank's checking account and Frank's saving account, and he probably has
too much.
Yeah, but when you add all of that together for all of us, and you go back
$12.37 between us. Yeah.
When you go back to 1960s, like you have this fairly smooth curve. And I mean, like there'll be events like 2008 where it'll like jiggle a little or something like that. And you got to keep in mind, anytime the economy is going bad, they try to goose the economy by pumping more in. But like 2008, you see like this little jiggle. You get up to about 2 months ago, and it goes spike. I mean, there's nothing else like it in the last 40 years.
What about that spike in unemployment? Did you see that chart? Like it's way, way, way down here, way down here, way down. Boom! It's like a rocket taking off.
Yeah, I love the way they did that because it's like, oh, it's bad.
Like it's
it's bad. and then all of a sudden it's like everything that looked bad is just shrinking to nothing as they.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's
scary. I don't know what the latest unemployment figures are. The last one I saw was 30 million, but that's been over a week ago. So I'm guessing it's 32, 33 million now.
well, new report will come out tomorrow. The problem is that's going to be first time unemployment claims, so that's not going to let us know who's gone back to work. So
Nobody's
probably
going back to work because they're getting more money by staying home. They're
they're.
being paid more money to stay home than they would be by working.
Well, that's definitely causing a problem because you have businesses that were offered a certain amount of money to keep people on or to have rehired them by this date, and then they have to stay on for like 8 weeks.
They can't get them to come back to work. They're begging them to come back to work, and the people won't come back to work.
Right.
No.
No.
Some of these companies are on the hook for this money because they're afraid that they're quote misusing the money, and the Fed is going to penalize them for it through no fault of their own.
Now, I've had some friends take that money, and it was kind of an interesting thing to watch it. I also had some friends that just flat refused to, but it was an interesting thing to watch it because the fundamental question is, do you need this money to make it through the crisis? Well, you don't actually know because you don't know what the second and third order
myself and don't want any.
Yeah, I've not gotten any either, but if you have a company and you're employing 10 or 15 people, even if you're an essential employer, you don't actually know how you're going to be impacted. Maybe you sell parts to a car company, and you don't know if you're going to be impacted, but they're going to run out of money. So kind of, for a certain group of people, for the people who are planning carefully to make sure they can keep their employees employed, the answer always has to be yes. The answer is always yes. We need that money because you might.
Yeah, you might. You don't know. And think about all the businesses that were barely getting by anyway. And you look at restaurants that it's one of the most difficult businesses to get started or to keep going. And then your employees that you've got working there are many of them making less than minimum wage. I talked to one of the waiters I really like at Columbia Steakhouse here in Lexington. Robert, if you ever come to Lexington and have time, I will take you. We've got to go to Columbia's and get a Nighthawk special.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, there's a waiter that's one of the regulars there, and he was saying he makes $2 and something an hour.
Right.
And he's completely dependent on tips. So he's he hadn't probably worked in 7 weeks. I hope the guy's okay. When I go back, I'm going to give him a $10 tip the first 3 times I go. And I wish I could do more, but that's all I can do. That's a lot for me. Well,
I'm not sure, man. He might be making the best money now he's made of his career.
Maybe I need to get a rebate. I don't know.
Yeah. I think everybody's done the math by now, but an extra $600 a week is an extra $15 per hour at a 40-hour work week. So what they're doing is they're slipping $15 an hour extra into unemployment. They're after that $15 an hour thing. And I mean, I'm a software engineer. Frankly, it's my friends that benefit from this. It's already my friends who benefit from this because as soon as people start getting paranoid about wage inflation, people start looking for more automation. What else can we automate? What else can we automate? If you hear from me that you're shooting yourself through the foot with increasing minimum wage, I mean, at least stop for a moment and remember you're benefiting me. That the happiest thing I can do is let you go ahead and do it. Like just back to the I got mine mentality. If I had an I got mine mentality, I would be like, minimum wage sounds great, guys, go do it. Make it $30 an hour.
Well, my 3 income streams are all very free market. I'm an
Yeah.
Uber and Lyft driver. I sell things on eBay, and then I invest in the stock market. So I have no faith in the stock market right now. I'm still doing some investing, but I'm looking for bargains. I'm looking for companies that have upside potential that are already low. Now, my Uber and Lyft driving, I really haven't driven. I've driven one day out of the last 7 weeks or 6 weeks. I don't know which. I think 7, and don't really care because I've been staying busy with my eBay sales. My eBay sales have gone through the roof because people are staying at home. I've been at home more to put more auctions out. My customers have been home more shopping. But at some point, when the economy really goes bad, they're going to be tightening their belts. I figure I've got the rest of this year to push out my inventory as much as I can. But I've already, I mean, in the month of May, we're on May the 20th right now. I've sold more stuff in the month. I've sold 2.2 or 2.3 times more stuff in the first 3 weeks of May than I sold in the entire month of February.
So tell people where they need to be on Saturday. Did we get that far?
Well, if you can't make it to Frankfurt, we're going to be in Frankfurt at the Capitol on the front steps. Now, there's a potential court order.
What time?
What we're doing illegal or legal, depending on the way the verdict goes. We're going to show up anyway. And then maybe we'll have to get arrested so that we can go back to court and show where we've been damaged or whatever, where we've suffered because of this. But we're going to be at the Capitol in Frankfurt on the front steps. Don't have any idea what size crowd. Based on the previous protests, I've been to 2 other ones. One was by Lee Watts. I don't know the name of their protest. And one was by our friend Erica, who wishes to remain anonymous because she was hurt by the backlash from the pro-shutdown people who attacked her business by getting onto Google and leaving her bad reviews. And me and others went on there and refuted those reviews and said there was a conflict of interest. All the bad reviews were on one day. So it was really a concerted effort, right? And so hopefully those reviews got removed. And that's what we have to face. Now, you know, there's a real ugly side of the left, I will call it, the pro-shutdown people that will do anything.
Right.
By hook or by crook, they don't care what they do to shut down opposition. So we have to watch that. So I'm hoping conservatively that we have 500 people there. If I have 500 people there, I'm happy. I'm going to do a live Facebook feed. So if you can't come to Frankfurt, you can go to my Facebook page, Frank Harris. Frank Harris Lexington, you'll see me. And I'm going to get the video feed started early so that we can light the kindling to ignite the fire, and it'll grow exponentially. I'm not going to use the word viral. I don't want this video to go viral. I want this to spread like wildfire. So the earlier we start the video, the more people we will reach. So what I'm going to do is make an announcement about 15, 20 minutes before 2 o'clock and tell the people that are there to share the video, and let's get the fire started.
Cool. All right. So I got your Facebook up there. Also, if you're on Facebook, you can see it literally in the comments. That way you can just click on it. Frank, what can people do to help your campaign, man?
I feel like I'm not even campaigning yet. I've gotten my name out there a little bit more. I've spoken to some of the gun groups. I've spoken at a couple rallies. I haven't really, I don't know if it's campaigning or not. I guess it is. I'm getting my name out there. But what I need is the occasional volunteer. If I have somebody with me, to hand out materials and things like that, it makes my life easier. Sometimes I'll go to a place like Triangle Park in Lexington, and I'll want to put up my signs. Well, it's hard for me to do it all by myself. It's hard for me to talk to people, hand out stuff. So I need volunteers. So if you'll contact me, I'll put you to work. And I like getting out and bugging people. I don't know if it's bugging people. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy communicating with people and getting people excited. You know, one of the things as a libertarian that we believe in is we believe in legalizing or decriminalizing recreational marijuana. And
Right.
so when I get out on a busy street and I've got one of my signs has a big marijuana leaf on it, oh my God, you ought to see the reactions I get. And people, you know, jumping out of their cars and honking their horns. It's really great. Did an event last year or 2 years ago in 2018 where I was giving away some of my pro marijuana T-shirts, and everybody wanted one.
Sure.
So this time around, I was really, truly, I was embarrassed to ask for money 2 years ago. I was trying to run a very low budget campaign. I'm gonna run a low budget campaign this time, but I'm gonna ask for money. So I'm gonna tell people how to donate to my campaign directly. I don't really have an official website where you can go to it and donate from the website. But if you'll message me on my Facebook page, I'll give you my PayPal address, and you can send it to my PayPal account and just put campaign donation on it, so that I know what it is. And I'm torn between. I believe I'm going to go over $5,000 this time, and I kind of don't want to, because if I go over $5,000, then I've got to file with the FEC. And then that opens me up to all kinds of hassles and potential criminal charges if I misplace $1 or who knows what. My treasurer will be on the hook. I don't even have a treasurer yet. So my options is stay under $5,000 or bust way through $5,000.
Right.
And I really don't think I can get very far past 5,000 anyway. So right now I'm going to try to stay under 5,000.
I think they'll need all of this, Frank. This is obviously one of mine. Now,
Yeah.
if you want to fill one of these out, you can get it off my website and mail it to me instead of Frank. That will also work. But actually, Frank, there is some
I don't know what you mean there, Robert. He's stealing my campaign money. Is that what you're doing?
I'll get you this.
Robert, you know, I want one of us to make some noise in this race. If Robert's the one making noise, more power to him. I'll promote him. And I was really kind of reluctant to jump into the race this time because it's a lot of work and a lot of hassle. I do enjoy talking to people. I do enjoy educating people, trying to learn as I go myself, and just getting the libertarian message out. So I do get to have some fun, but oh my gosh, the hassles you go through on a daily basis. You just
I bet at this point, because I'm trapped by this too, and I'm just now realizing it, is in 2018 I was disappointed that we didn't have a libertarian on the ballot for the race I'm in. So, you know, there for a fraction of a second I was kind of upset about it, and then I realized I hadn't run either. So I dubbed it libertarian adulting. This is libertarian adulting. The problem is, now that I've libertarian adulted, you know, how do you ever look at a ballot that doesn't have a libertarian in a slot you could have run in? It's like, now I'm realizing it's just going to be painful forever.
I feel like, you know, I'm going to run, you know, obviously this year I'm running. I ran 2 years ago. I figure I'll try again in 2022. And then at that point, it's nonsense for me to try to run a fourth time. I think after 3 times, then people just say, oh yeah, he can't win or whatever. But I feel like I've got 3 runs in me. By then I'll be 60 years old. I'll be very happy to support somebody else.
Yeah.
I feel like really my role is to pave the way for somebody else, to make the road a little wider, to make the road a little smoother. And right now we are really, really, really low, you know, on the curve of recognition. We're way down here, and we've got nowhere to go but up. But right now we're still way down here. So if I can go from 2,000 votes to 8,000 or 10,000 votes, I feel like I have done my job. And then maybe, who knows, in 2022, me or somebody else, maybe we can get 15 or 20,000 votes. The
Well,
we've got better ideas than the Democrats and Republicans. I think people realize now that the Republicans and the Democrats are not getting the job done, that the two-party system is not working for them. And where are the Republicans on challenging Andy Bashir? Why aren't they doing more?
They are anti getting the job done. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, think about what we've been talking about here. Yeah, we disagree with the other sides. Yeah, sometimes we get a little angry with the other sides. But, we keep telling you things like, look at the data or go look this up yourself. Or it's because we legitimately want you to be more educated. We legitimately want you to be smarter. The other parties,
more votes, we've got to educate people. Yeah.
Right. The other parties are just the opposite. They want to keep your vote. They want to keep you believing whatever narrative.
Yeah.
They want to dumb you down, and they want you hating the other party.
Right.
And as long as they keep you angry and scared, they have you.
Yeah.
All we're asking you to do is be brave and bold. Believe in yourself.
I see it all the time, how the politicians play on people's ignorance. They know the people don't know any better or any differently, and they use that to their advantage.
Right.
It's really disgusting.
And when you prove Frank and I wrong, we'll go, we didn't know that.
Well,
taught me something new.
Yeah. The reason I left the Republican Party 8 years ago was because they weren't making any effort at all, other than a few like Rand Paul, Thomas Massey. None of them were talking about balancing the budget. Not a single one. They used to talk about it. They don't even talk about it anymore. And Mitch McConnell, when they passed that first $2 trillion relief package, they were bragging about how the Democrats and the Republicans came together and almost unanimously passed this bill. Mitch was happy about that. He was thrilled about it.
So $2 trillion, had it been 2 billion, that would have been about $30 per, is that right? No, it would have been about $6 per US citizen. But it wasn't billion, it was trillion. So 3 more zeros, so it's about $6,000 per US citizen. So, you've got grandkids, each one of them is about $6,000 more in debt just because of that. Just that.
Yeah. I mean, the total debt figure is 180 grand per person now. It's impossible.
When you include I've got it right here. I won't share it because
Medicaid and all that. Yeah, Social Security mostly funded, but
it's the I'm not finding it quickly, but it's the unfunded stuff. What are we going to talk about next time, man?
Well, can we mention Elon Musk quickly?
Yeah, we can mention Elon Musk quickly.
I don't know how many people have been following the saga of Elon Musk, the founder of Tesla and SpaceX and PayPal and other companies. I've been binge watching Quentin Tarantino movies and Elon Musk videos. And so I'm going to use this joke at the rally. So when you hear it again at the rally, you're going to be bored. You're going to know it's coming. So the other day I think it was Saturday, after I had watched my 7th Quentin Tarantino movie, I realized if you took the T off of his last name and replaced it with the QU of his first name, it's Quarantino. So because of the quarantine, I've been binge watching Quentin Tarantino movies. And I thought that, if anything, is a sign from God. Just like the guy in the movie Pulp Fiction not getting shot. It's
right.
Divine intervention, if there ever was anything.
Well, people compare sometimes Elon Musk to Tony Stark.
But we're
libertarians. I mean, No, you're a comic book guy too.
All
But
your great superheroes were billionaire geniuses. You know, Batman was a billionaire genius. Tony Stark. Yeah. There's Hank Pym. So anyway, getting back to Elon. So Elon, you know, he's been trying to run his Tesla factory out in California, and I don't know which officials it was. I think it was the county officials in whatever county he's in.
Yeah, it was a county.
Did not want him reopening his factory. Well, somebody said that it's somewhere on the order of $50 million a day in lost, it's either lost profits or lost revenues, that every day that that factory stayed closed that they were losing, because they're producing umpteen Teslas a day. Each Tesla is $30,000 and whatever it is, you know, I don't know which models cost what amount, but they were losing $50 million a day by being shut down. And Elon just said, no, I'm not going to do it. And then he added to that, he said, in fact, this is the last straw. I'm going to take my factory and move to Texas. So is this an empty threat? Most of the people that I've been watching on, you know, give their interpretation of these events are saying, Elon don't play. Elon, when he makes an announcement like that, is serious. He's already looking into moving to Austin, Texas. He's also looking at other locations. I've heard Oklahoma mentioned. I've heard Michigan mentioned. And so there's a darn good chance that old Elon Musk is going to take his ball and go play somewhere else.
Well,
California, hey, Texas.
Since he reopened though, and they didn't mess with him. He just went ahead and reopened, and he said,
off.
yeah, he is. I'm not a real close Musk follower.
I am now.
But my observation of him over the years is when he mouths off with something like that, even if he don't know he's serious, he's serious. It's right. Like he smarts off, and then like 2 hours later he goes, hey, wait a minute. It's like he goes back to it and does it. That's how the Boring Company was born.
I like the Boring Company. Yeah, I learned about the Boring Company just a day or two ago.
Yeah, he was ticked off in traffic and smarted off with some proposal on his smartphone or something, and then like 2 hours later, it's like, nope, I'm really doing this. And he's buying up the company and
got the tunnel built in Vegas. Apparently, it's finished.
Yeah, but you know, so to me, he's not Tony Stark, because I'm not so much a comic book guy. I'm more of an Atlas Shrugged guy. Yeah. So what Atlas Shrugged? I think it's kind of obvious, but
he's Hank Reardon.
He's Hank Reardon. He's Reardon without a doubt.
He's not going to play anymore.
Right.
So instead of quitting the business entirely, he's just moving the business somewhere else. But not. What was the company that moved? Oh, was it Boeing? No, it wasn't Boeing. It was some other big company picked up their ball and took it somewhere else. And they were trying to pass legislation saying, was it Washington State? Was it Seattle?
I don't remember that one.
There was some major company that left whatever state they were in and moved to another state. And the state that they left was trying to pass legislation saying, well, you can't take jobs from one state and move to another. Oh yeah, watch me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's something to think about, that we stand for, is we stand for freedom of movement.
Yeah.
And I mean,
you're not obligated to work anywhere. You're not obligated to provide jobs anywhere.
Right. So you look at people like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk. You can lose Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk. Never mind the damn factory. You can lose them. And we, you know, unfortunately, in my opinion, we actually have laws that prevent U.S. citizens from renouncing their citizenship when it's for monetary reasons. Now, how you prove that, I don't know. But like, you're just renouncing your citizenship to avoid paying taxes. Man,
we're one of the few countries in the world where you leave the United States and are still obligated to pay U.S. taxes.
Right. These people think you're their slave.
Yeah.
That's what they think. And I'm not promoting people leave the country, but to me, if you've gotten to that point and you're ready to leave, I'm not going to try to keep you here. That's not cool. To me, you're free to take you wherever you want to take you. That's all right. Well, thanks for joining us. I know we kind of bounced around a lot. I knew we would. That's kind of how it goes with me and Frank. That's why it's a libertarian medley. Let us know what you want us to ramble about and bounce around on next time. Frank's probably going to be my.
What else I can get some chocolate out of Robert on? How else can I con Robert out of some more chocolate?
No, Andy's not been that dumb yet. But that's what we need to talk about next time.
There's 2 games I will challenge anybody in the world to, and one and have a good chance of winning. One's table tennis and one's croquet. So I'll take on all comers in either one of those sports. And I'm 58 years old and I weigh 280 pounds.
We need to talk about the supply-demand curve next time instead of just bashing people for not understanding it. That's what we need to do. We'll talk about that next time, folks.
Thank you,
all right.
Tomorrow
night, I'm with David Patterson again. We're going to be talking about law enforcement and libertarianism again. If you have any questions you want me to ask Dave, direct message those to me or go find our last broadcast, or you can do the upcoming broadcast. Put the messages in there and we will get them in there. Frank, thanks for joining. Good luck on your campaign.
Thank you.
And if you run into people mistakenly who are D2 people, you point them at me, man, and I'll do likewise.
Don't give to me, give to Robert. Give to Robert. I don't need any money.
Thanks. All right. Good night, everybody.
See ya.
Bye-bye.